special coverage, your verdict, and the verdict has been delivered loud and clear. The people of Jammu and Kashmir have voted for change, and indeed so have the people of Jharkhand. The nature of the change, of course, differs in the two states. But in Jharkhand, it's clearer because now the BJP has touched that halfway point of 41. So the BJP will form Jharkhand's first majority government since the state was formed in 2000. The question, of course, that Rahul posed earlier is who will be the chief minister? Now, that is a tricky question, Rahul, because as you've seen, you had Manohar Lal Khattar emerge in Haryana. You had Devendra Fadnavis emerge in Maharashtra. Is there an obvious candidate? Because there was a sense, Rahul, that Arjun Munda was not being favoured by the party high command. They want a new leader. Is that true?
That is true. They want somebody who will be in the control of the high command. They want somebody who will do their bidding. And Mr. Chari, do you want to give us some suggestions on who the name could potentially be?
No. Interestingly, Rahul, Mr. Chari today has called for the Ghar Vapsi of Babulal Marandi, saying that he was an honest, credible leader, the kind that the BJP wants. But now you won't need his support.
I told you also that. Even if you don't need his support, I would still suggest
that you want him back.
A person like Babulal Marandi,
the RSS loves him. They would like nothing better than to have him back. The only problem is that on the ground, they're not being able to decide how many seats to give to each other, which is why they couldn't come back.
Seats. Now the elections are over.
No, of course.
Now since the elections
hold on. Yes.
The emissaries are at his doorstep.
Whose doorstep?
At Mr. Babulal Marandi's doorstep. So therefore, indeed, for the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Ghar Vapsi of Mr. Babulal Marandi is like having the Lokayukt for the government inside the government. So
no, are you not ruling out the possibility that Marandi will join the government? Is that what you are suggesting?
I don't know, but he could be the sage that the party very much needs, considering, as Mr. Chari and we heard in the morning that Mr. Babulal Marandi did lay charges of there being big money power in Jharkhand. That's been something that's been plaguing the government there for long. So the BJP and the Sangh would be very happy to have Mr. Marandi.
Is there an obvious name for the BJP given? Arjun Munda was trailing for a while. I'm told he was then leading. And you've got other BJP leader, senior leaders who perhaps will also have their own ambitions.
I think I'll go with Rahul and say that it's not the chief ministerial chair. The chief ministerial chair would go to somebody who would be under the firm control of the centre. But having Mr. Babulal Marandi back would be like having an ombudsman within the government. What better than that? So they are in a win-win situation.
He can't come back in any capacity less than that of the chief minister. And those who fought the election on the ground will say, why should we make him chief minister after we've defeated him?
See, there's been a lot of blood that's flown in a sense that all of Mr. Babulal Marandi's men, just before the elections, his party was literally fractured by the Bharatiya Janata Party. So the BJP tried taking away most of his strong leaders, and still he's come back with these numbers. And still, if you see, the halfway house is just one shot still, even at 41. It needs that one number.
No, but that would require magnanimity. And the key personnel at the helm of affairs aren't known for their magnanimity.
No,
they're known to be ruthless, cutthroat, but not magnanimous.
You constantly refer to what Mr. Chari said about Ghar Vapsi, but I thought what Mr. Babulal Marandi said was very significant. He said that I am not into doing vyapar, and I'm not going to. He was very clear, and that sort of raised his stature in the eyes of all of us.
Look, he's had a tough time. He's lost his son. To the Naxals. He's gone through a tough period in his life. But he's been seen as a man of relative integrity in a state where integrity has been compromised by every leader.
But he's seen the degeneration. I mean, it's a strong word in the BJP. I'm not sure that he will just, overnight give up all his idealism and just walk back to the
question, though, and Rahul, you referred to it, is the interesting question, because do you go for a tribal or a non-tribal? In Maharashtra, conventional wisdom was you'd go for a Maratha.
They will go for a non-tribal.
No, but see what's happening.
Look at the number of seats the JMM has got. It's the same Jat phenomena. If the Jats had voted for them, then they might have thought about making a tribal chief minister. But when the JMM's got 18 seats, there's no question of making a tribal.
So therefore, the BJP is again going against conventional wisdom in the first 15 years of Jharkhand's existence, where the tribal must be chief minister.
I'm not sure that it's
no, but conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom, for example, in Maharashtra. Conventional wisdom in Maharashtra was a Maratha should become the chief minister, Devendra Fadnavis become. Conventional wisdom in Haryana was you will need a Jat as a chief minister if you have to build the party, but you went with a Khattar. So, the BJP, particularly the new leadership, has a tendency to buck the conventional trend, also wants to send out a message that, look, we are not into this tribal, non-tribal, it's only you in the media who are. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a non-tribal chief minister, particularly as I think a section of the party believes Arjun Munda has had his day. And, Arjun Munda is not the answer anymore to Jharkhand's larger problem. And as Manisha says, maybe someone who is more...
Raghuvar Das.
Raghuvar Das is one name.
Sarju Rai is also one. CP Singh is also one. There are these other candidates who are there. Somebody who we are not even discussing, Mr. Vinod Tubid, is obviously one of those candidates, a former IAS officer. His father served with Mr. Sri Krishna Singh, the first Chief Minister of Bihar. So it's not as if the BJP is short of candidates. There could be tall leaders, but I still...
And while you're discussing all these names, you'll have poor Yashwant Sinha watching us on television and wondering, mera number kab aayega? Wo to number aane nahi wala hai because good old Mr. 75. Modi and Amit Shah put him in the Margdarshak Mandal.
No, so, and Jayant Sinha is MOS.
And Jayant Sinha is MOS. So
any claim.
That's right. So all claims of Yashwant Sinha are gone.
Although Mr. Chai, the reality is Yashwant Sinha would make a great Chief Minister for Jharkhand. The state requires somebody with administrative capabilities. He has those. Yet the BJP would never think of him.
No,
answer the question. Earlier, don't
on an earlier discussion also I have said this. See, there is a departure. BJP has had a number of tall leaders, even in Maharashtra, even in Haryana.
No, do you not think that Yashwant Sinha would make a good Chief Minister for Jharkhand?
These leaders have had their role, and they are always available for us. But this is the time to groom new
available in retirement
leaders.
Homes or available on the field?
Always.
Whenever
we want them.
They become Margdarshak.
No, the Margdarshak Mandal which was formed by Amit Shah hasn't met even once since the time it was formed. That's the reality. So that's essentially a retirement home of sorts because they haven't required to give you the Margdarshak home. The Mandal is there, but no Margdarshan is required.
All these cells are being redrawn. Number of cells has to be reformed. Therefore, it's not that the Margdarshak Mandal has not met. They have met 3 times. So far, the Margdarshak Mandal has met 3 times. And during these elections also, Yashwant Sinha has gone to Jharkhand. It's not that he is here. Therefore, I mean, we are not discussing individuals.
Look, on a day of triumph, we won't bring out the Yashwant Sinha question here in Jharkhand. But quick point before we take a break, Manisha, do you believe that this election in Jharkhand marks a... Does it mark... I know you don't like... We are not going to use the word tectonic. We are not going to use watershed. But is it an important landmark election for Jharkhand, a state which has had historically unstable verdicts?
Yes, really a landmark one, I would say, going towards a definite majority in the House. Also a very sobering election because a lot of who we thought were stalwarts seem to be trailing in their backyards. Mr. Hemant Soren has done very well, has indeed taken on the mantle and the leadership of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. But in his home bastion of Dumka, he's not done well. Mr. Babulal Marandi, former big tall leader, has not won one of the seats that he was contesting on. Mr. Arjun Munda not trailing still on the Kharsavan seat. We don't know what the results on most of these are going to be like, but a very, very sobering analysis. And the BJP, which had hoped to be able to get to the 50 seats mark, has not reached there. However, in all this is for the first time that since 14 years of its formation, the state is going towards a clear majority, hopefully new innings for the state, which has been a troubled state for lack of
no one can blame the Madhu Kodas anymore of the world.
Madhu Kodas lost, Geeta Kodas won. So some gender parity there in a 2-member party.
That's interesting. Yes. So Madhu Koda, who created history by becoming an independent who became chief minister, and many suggest that really exemplified the decline and depth to which Jharkhand politics had fallen a few years ago. Let's take a break. When we come back, what about the depths of the Congress party? We'll give Manishankar Iyer one last time to try and resurrect the fortunes of the Congress party this winter day in December 2014. Looked at the BJP, possibilities in Jharkhand, possibilities in Jammu and Kashmir, but what about the big national picture, particularly for the Indian National Congress? What does this election result mean for the Indian National Congress and indeed for Narendra Modi? The Indian National Congress has done what? 12 seats at the moment, down about 6 in Jammu and Kashmir, and in Jharkhand really doing badly at the moment in single digits despite being in alliance with RJD and JDU. You know, one of the theories, Manishankar Iyer, was that in alliance, you need to be in alliance. We heard Subodh Khan Sahai saying that he would have preferred an alliance with the JMM. And the Congress High Command said, we leave it to you, we are not going to intervene in this. Do you believe, as in Bihar, you are planning the future, only future for the Congress is to have as wide an alliance? Not just the JDU, RJD, you need all anti-Modi forces to come together if you have any chance, even in 2015, in an election like Bihar. Would you concede that is the only hope now for the Congress? You cannot be Ekla Chalo Re anymore, those days are gone.
Ekla Chalo Re was abandoned after Pachmadi. More than 15 years ago.
Really hard
in 2004.
That's right. No. Rahul is right. our Rahul is right, not Rahul Gandhi, because the fact is that you in Bihar went in 2010 Ekla Chalo Re. You went in UP in 2012 Ekla Chalo Re. You've tried in the past and it's not worked. In Maharashtra,
even now he believes in it, Rajdeep.
Yeah,
I thought I was being asked a question, not being made to listen to your answer.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
In 2004, we put together a rainbow alliance that completely upset everyone's expectations, including specifically yours, Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai.
Yes.
And we came out victorious. In 2009, we were able to largely retain that.
Yes.
But during the course of this period after 2009, parties started leaving us. Our performance as a government was so pathetic that several of our party partners simply abandoned us, even if it harmed them, as it did the DMK. So therefore, we are now back in a situation where I think we should be joining with those who wish to join with us. And that those who don't wish to join with us, we should attempt to cultivate them.
Mr. Iyer, that's half-truth. You've told us a half-truth because you abandoned, for example, the National Conference. You walked out on the alliance with Omar Abdullah. Let's get the facts clear. The NCP and the Congress, you wanted to get rid of the NCP eventually, and NCP in Maharashtra, they wanted to get rid of you. So some of those,
yeah, sure.
And RJD also, Rahul walked out of Lalu's
I agree with you that there would be cases of bad marriages.
Yes.
And therefore we would perhaps have to relook at those.
Yes.
But by and large, the strategy ought to be to recognize, as I think my party does, that there is no question of Ekla Chalo Re.
But Mr. Iyer, when we had Amit Shah with us at Agenda Aaj Tak, we asked him about the slogan that he has about Congress Mukt Bharat. He's convinced that by 2019, there won't be a single major state where the Congress will continue to rule. And Manisha Prem, by the way things are going, do you think that that thesis of a Congress Mukt Bharat can actually come true? Going by the way the BJP is going and going also by the way the Congress is going under.
I just asked you to look at those figures.
Yeah.
I'm asking Manisha. I'm just
but I still feel that you don't have to get so disheartened. One has to wait for the BJP to perform or not perform, because partly what Mr. Manishankar Iyer is true about is talking about the 2004 verdict. It was not an Ank Ganit verdict. They had a campaign in which people reposed their trust, and that lets other smaller parties flock around you. What is the situation now? There is a single digit in Jharkhand.
I'm on the issue of assembly elections. There are two big assembly elections, one in Assam, one in Karnataka.
At the moment,
where there's anti-incumbency building up in both states. In one state, you've got 3 terms of anti-incumbency in Assam.
So let us concede that for the moment, this would be a Simta Hua Congress Bharat, as marginal players, somewhat left in Karnataka, somewhat left in Kerala, not sure of the Northeast. There could be many surprises with Mr. Narendra Modi's popularity reaching a high and all of that. So definitely a very, very Simta on the margins Congress.
No, I think,
definitely.
Mukt,
you're not sure of the word Mukt.
Mukt is not a good word to use.
And I was surprised that Mr. Iyer should have also used that thing of Mukt. BJP Mukt Kashmir, because that is
ribbing.
No, it's ribbing. But otherwise, it shows a very, very deeply undemocratic sentiment when you say you want to defeat an opponent, you want to defeat a party, but to say you want to eliminate a party, it's not a good sign. Having said that, I think what does the BJP mean by Congress Mukt Bharat? Do they mean the party Indian National Congress, or do they mean the idea of the Congress, which with all its faults still stands for diversity, pluralism, what they call pseudo-secularism?
No, this is real politics. They don't want the Congress ruling in any major state.
But that's why the Congress also has to decide whether they want to keep the idea alive, in which case Congress cannot be the all-encompassing umbrella party it was till the 60s.
So how do you convince a gentleman called Rahul Gandhi about that?
No, so Mr. Rahul Gandhi is not a fool. I mean, he will also see if you can go with other parties and in the ideological battle against the Hindutva forces, you need allies. You should be gracious enough to accept it.
You believe with every defeat, Rahul Gandhi, in a sense, will have to accept that reality.
No, it is a bit of both. You try and expand your organization, but when you know in a place like UP or Bihar, you have to stand. You have to seek allies, and you have to do it.
But who wants to do any business with the Sadakat Ashram in Patna? I can vouch for this. That nobody today remembers who the chief of the Congress party is. The tallest leader of Chief Minister Jagannath Mishra's son is a minister now for long innings with the JD.
Okay, so therefore they should go with JDU and RJD.
Who's wanting to join the Congress in the India heartland? Who's wanting to join the Congress
faces a real dilemma. Who will go with the Congress at a time where the Congress is coming to the reality possibly that it cannot certainly fight major elections anymore on its own. It will need allies. But the BJP, and I know that was a controversial word used, Kashmir Mukt BJP is, BJP Mukt Kashmir is what was said by Mani Shankar Iyer. Sorry, I'm getting hungry now. But Sanjay Kaul is joining me of the BJP. Sanjay, do you want to respond to that? Mani Shankar Iyer says it is that this election has also led to a BJP Mukt Kashmir.
Well, I don't know whether you need a debate on that for the simple reason that it's factually completely incorrect. On the contrary, the reverse has happened. The BJP has become part of the narrative in Kashmir. It has established for the first time a presence there. It has a representation there. It has a revived organization structure there. So I think let us take that with a pinch of salt.
In fact, interestingly, apparently someone has told me that Hina Bhatt has lost by just 11 votes. We are trying to confirm that. But if that is true, you know, those 6 votes could have made all the difference. Suddenly, if you had 1 seat and the first seat that the BJP had won in the Kashmir Valley, maybe it would have been a very different question to ask. Certainly, you know, that is as close as possibly the BJP has come to ever winning a seat in the Kashmir Valley. So clearly, do you believe that is the one downer today for you in a day where again you've got much to be happy about?
Certainly,
that you haven't won that 1 seat in the Kashmir Valley, Mr. Chari?
Certainly. I mean, there are many things that we should make us happy.
Yes.
But there are other...
The one disappointment of the day.
I mean, this is one of the disappointments. I mean, I'm disappointed because our vote share in the valley has also not increased.
Yes.
Which we expected this will happen. We could have put up more candidates and we could have worked harder on this.
Will that lead to introspection? Because, you know, the general belief, this Modi wave, the hype that Manini accuses people like me of creating is that we are calling as if the moment Mr. Modi and Shah say Mission 44 will happen. It's almost as if they are like James Bond. They're coming and they will, you know, shoot everyone down. They're the Terminators. It hasn't happened in the valley. Is there a sobering lesson that there are parts of the country, maybe Kerala in the future, maybe other parts, Bengal also possibly Tamil Nadu, where setting your ambitions too high also galvanizes your opponents? You see, they come together. In this case, the separatists came together almost with the mainstream parties.
And I said that also. I mean, that's a welcome sign. I mean, I am happy at least. If the separatists who are more happier discarding the elections and disrupting and sabotaging the democratic process, if out of fear for, I mean,
no, but the larger point, sir, the larger point,
what Shakespeare
for example, in Bengal, if you claim that you are going to say do a Mission 145 in Bengal, will that force the opponents of the BJP to all come together? Is that a fear at some stage that you have, that it will become Modi versus the rest?
No.
And in Modi versus the rest will always have some chance. It's Modi versus a divided rest, you will always win now.
No, in the valley, people had, there were candidates and there were parties whom they could go to.
Yes.
They could go to the Congress, they could go back to the PDP, some of them could have gone to the NC also in valley. NC has good percentage in valley, but gone down on seats because some of their vote share has been taken by PDP and the Congress. The Congress has done well in there because the section could have gone to the Congress also. So that was a different thing. But what I'm saying is, this is not possible in West Bengal because there are not many alternatives. There is practically no alternative. So that doesn't apply here. And then there are not major political forces or non-political forces or non-state actors in West Bengal who would at the drop of the hat talk of boycotting elections and all these things. That has never happened.
So you think the BJP should continue with this approach of audaciousness, of ambition, keep aiming as high as possible?
But Malini has been always trying to say that in May you had this much, so interpolating that you should have this. See, it's very easy to scale Everest once, but it is difficult to remain there forever.
Okay, that's a sobering thought. That's a sobering thought at a BJP leader. Because at the moment, the general belief is that Amit Shah and Narendra Modi believe that every peak in this country is possible to be scaled.
They've scaled Everest, now it's Mars and then Venus and then...
No, hold on. That's being cynical. That's being excessively cynical.
We can have different agendas.
I must be fair to Mr. Modi. We met him a few days ago where he said that, look, don't look at Jammu and Kashmir only through victory and defeat. Look at it in the larger picture.
Exactly.
We've had a relatively successful, peaceful election at the end of which high voter turnout.
And that is what PDP also agreed.
Comes to power will in a sense work with the centre. So maybe Mr. Modi has reason also to feel that, you know, Jammu and Kashmir is not so bad after all. It's not so bad. And those numbers are also interesting because 30 plus 12, Mr. Iyer, is not adding up at the moment to 44. So the 44 will come through two independents. So it will have to be two independents, Congress and PDP, if you want a share in the government in Jammu and Kashmir.
If these figures remain, I mean, you know, why should my figures change and your figures not change?
Okay.
So don't jump into all these conclusions. Wait for the end. Just be a little patient.
Okay, we are going to be patient. Rahul's going to stay with us. He's got a long afternoon ahead. Most of us, some of us at least, have lunch to be had. Mr. Iyer deserves a long lunch. The Congress at the moment has a lot of time for long lunches. The BJP, on the other hand, their Prime Minister tends to get up early in the morning. Mr. Chari, therefore, as a good old RSS man, you know how it is to get up in the morning. The rest of us, for God's sake, Election Commission, please try and avoid December elections if you can in the national capital. The next big election is in the capital. It will be Arvind Kejriwal versus Narendra Modi this time. And maybe Narendra Modi's jadoo will continue.